Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, the creator and host of the award-winning podcast that you're listening to right now. Thank you so much, called Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. It is a daily podcast, 365 days a year, and each day we talk to an author about all of the things related to their career, their book, their life, and more in 30 minutes or less, because who has time? I am now an author myself, although I wasn't when I started this podcast, and you can get my new memoir, Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, wherever books are sold starting July 1st, and my children's book, Princess Charming. You can learn more about me at zibbyowens.com, but really you're here to learn more about the authors, and that is what we're going to do. Also, be sure to check out all the other podcasts in the Zcast Podcast Network. You can learn more at zcastnetwork.com and definitely check out those shows as well. I hope you'll all check out the all-new Zibby Mag, ZIBBY-MAG, the literary lifestyle destination with essays, book news, a lit lifestyle feature, and even some classes. Check it out, zibbymag.com. This is a very, very special episode with Idina Menzel and her sister, Cara Mentzel, and it's about their new children's book called Loud Mouse. Idina Menzel, if you don't know her by name, is a powerhouse actor, singer-songwriter, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and now a writer. She was Tony nominated for her Broadway performances in Rent and If Then, winning the prize for Wicked's Green Girl. People around the world know her as Elsa in Disney's Oscar-winning Frozen and Frozen 2. She has performed at the Oscars and the Super Bowl and is the co-founder of A Broader Way Foundation, whose mission is leadership development to amplify young women's voices through the arts. Loud Mouse is Idina's latest endeavor to build on the message of empowerment and finding our voices. Idina's greatest gift is her son, Walker. Her sister is Cara Mentzel, and her debut memoir, which I read, which was great, is called Voice Lessons, A Sister's Story, and it was all about her relationship with her superstar sister, Idina Menzel. And yes, they happen to spell their names differently in case anyone is reading this. Cara's memoir was a Goodreads Choice Award in 2017. Cara lives in Boulder, Colorado, where she and her husband raised their Brady Bunch of boys against the beauty of the Rocky Mountains. She has a master's degree in elementary education with an emphasis on children's literacy. And though she currently spends most of her time writing, she enjoyed teaching elementary school for well over a decade and can occasionally be found back in the classroom talking about books she loves. This is her first picture book. And let me also say that my daughter sang a version of the song that Idina wrote and performed that goes with this called Loud Mouse, and it's beautiful. So I'm going to play a clip of it while I'm doing the interview, but stay tuned at the end of this episode if you would like to hear my 9-year-old daughter's entire song. Welcome, Idina and Cara. Thank you so much for coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
So thrilled to be here.
Yes, thank you. We're very honored.
Aw, Loud Mouse is so gorgeous. The illustrations are amazing, and the story is so inspiring. Tell listeners, why did you two decide to write this book together? And what is this children's book really about at its heart?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I wanted to write about for a long time. And it finally dawned on me that I thought I wanted to sort of have this conversation with kids about when I was a little girl, and I knew deep down that I had something special to share, but I wasn't always sure how much space to take up with it and how much to call attention to myself. And it was scary to make myself vulnerable because, like Cara says, when you want to be seen and heard, and it happens, then you're really seen and you're really heard. So that elicits a lot of complicated emotions, especially, it still happens for me as an adult, but especially as a child. So when I decided that's sort of where I wanted to go, I didn't want to do it on my own. My sister is the writer. She's a teacher. She specializes in literacy. She's knows me better than anyone in the whole world. And so I didn't want to do it unless she would do it with me. So then I called her and asked her.
In Cara's memoir, you talked about how publishers or editors came to you to write a memoir, and you said, I want to do it with my sister. And they said, oh, she could be the ghostwriter. And you're like, no, my sister is no ghostwriter. She's going to write the whole thing with me, or she's not going to do it. And then she ended up writing the whole book, which is wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. That was a huge accomplishment. A whole different game to write a memoir versus a picture book, but equally difficult tasks.
Well, I have to say, I also went to a very similar sleepaway camp, and I was also in the play, and they also did not let my parents come. And I was devastated. I was in the Diary of Anne Frank, and I was Anne. It was the only starring role I've had in my life. That was basically it. Age 12.
Where did you do Anne Frank at like Stage Door Manor or French Woods?
It wasn't, although I actually just visited French Woods, but it wasn't there. It was at a regular all-around camp. And later they were like, well, maybe they just knew you could memorize the lines. And I was like, that is so not nice. I am not an actress. But anyway, I completely related to that moment.
A video of myself singing. I think maybe I did mention this in voice lessons that bushel and a peck. And, or take back your mink or whatever it is. And I'm like, this is a striptease.
Yeah, so funny.
You think my parents shouldn't see me do this? All works out in the end.
I was really moved by one moment, Idina, when you heard Cara singing to her child and you realized that she also has this amazing voice, and that you had this moment like, what if I didn't let her star power really shine? And I feel like there's so much of that there's a lot in this children's book of one person growing so big and everyone else staying the same size. So maybe you could just talk about that and what it feels like in relation to others when you talk in the children's book about, can a star not shine? Of course not. But the effects of the other stars not shining as brightly, what does that do? And I feel like nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's something we haven't touched on as much today, I think. And that's a really good, that was one of the special things about the book that we really wanted to try and tackle for sure. You talk about how that was for you.
Well, I think that's what happens is we hide our gifts, in order, we're afraid that, we'll be too much and we'll steal attention from someone else, especially if it's someone like your sister. You want to shine and have her moment. And so I think there's always that kind of navigating that dynamic, and then sort of this codependent relationship, then she wants her sister she wants me to have these moments, step into the spotlight, while all along that is somehow complicated for her because she's like, well, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And my 7-year-old sister is already dreaming of being on Broadway and's got it worked out, and she's still figuring it out. And that's like, so I think that happens a lot with siblings and even, married couples, relationships. It's always about, how, you always talk about not losing yourself in a relationship, but also being able to learn from the other person and compromise as well. And so always that balance is hard. How do you keep your own identity while also merging with someone else? That's the more grown up version of it.
Yeah, but I think that's also the identity piece of that is really important in Loudmouse, because it is family. It is the people that she's closest to, her little sister, her mom, that sort of help her stick to the truth, like find her truth, right? And I think that's so important because identity is ever evolving. We ask kids all the time, like, just be yourself. That's the solution. Don't try to be, just be yourself.
And
it's like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. I'm a children's book author.
Right.
But 5 years ago, I was not.
That's why I tend to tell people to just go where it feels good, where you feel fulfilled, where it brings you joy, whatever that creative outlet is, for you. And you can't go wrong if you're sort of following your heart in that way, and it will lead you somewhere. That is your passion. That is the thing you are meant to do,
With the exception of the few people that are motivated to go the wrong way.
The saboteurs involved in that as well, haven't we? Have to find our inner saboteur. Yeah, but that's one thing I did have bullying kids that I think looking back, were probably jealous or competitive and put me down and said, oh, you're showing off. But we actually made a conscious effort to portray the other kids in this book as very supportive and excited by this young girl and her love for singing. So,
and that was tricky because I think it's humor and authenticity that kind of drove the writing. So we still wanted to be authentic. But I think it is authentic for kids to be kind. So we wanted that to be modeled. We wanted that to be on the page. But you still have like Ren, who does have this huge talent. I mean, he draws this amazing, amazing International Space Station. It's just a quieter talent. It's just
Yes.
maybe not as fascinating to a class of first graders or whatever.
One that can be easily wiped off with somebody else's butt,
Yes,
as it says in the book.
totally. And yet, but his identity and how he expresses himself in the world is different and will be a different book. You know what I mean?
And at risk of being long-winded here, what I love about what Cara did was when you're talking about the size of things and how we make each other feel or how we feel in the world, and how she has this repetitive theme of walking past the anthill and the buttercups and then the redwoods. And when she's excited to go to school and share her voice, she's getting larger in perspective to what is that right? Mm-hmm. To what she's walking past. Yeah. And that's how we feel in life. Like we feel tall today, it doesn't have to be height, but we just feel that way. How many people tell me when they meet me that they thought I was 6 feet tall when I was in Wicked, but they don't realize I was in all black and I was wearing heels and a black, tall, pointed witch hat. But it's also because I felt powerful, and I was doing my thing. And then on the way back, when she's feeling really demoralized, she's
sort of shrinking.
Yeah. And
just in perspective.
Yeah.
And then when her little sister says, well, you've always been big and loud to me.
Yeah.
We've already sort of, using imagery, established that size is relative. And so for the little sister, big sister is bossy and loud and bigger. And so, yeah, those are really important sort of embedded themes that we wanted to have on the page. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even the sadness of success, the loneliness factor, because it was a little lonely for her to be so big because she was up there by herself. I don't know. And people don't discuss like, okay, here's my gift and I'm starting my stuff, but where's everybody else?
Exactly. And that there's an educator guide that we put together that has like 10 lessons and stuff. And half of them are really social, emotional learning focused. And one of those lessons that it makes me think of is called Take a Seat. And it's like, kids have to sit in different chairs in the classroom and talk about what they notice or what they feel. And one of the seats is like the teacher's chair in front, and this idea that, it feels different to be in these different roles, in these different positions. If sometimes you feel bigger, sometimes you feel, how do we feel sometimes, you go to a kindergarten parent teacher conference and they put you in those teeny chairs and all of a sudden.
That's always fun.
It's not just
nothing makes me feel more slender than those chairs,
so different. Yes.
But it is lonely. I think I just know that I experienced that. Sometimes in order to have that sort of transcendent experience of when you're doing something so pure and for the love of something, it can feel very solitary because you really have to make yourself completely vulnerable. And there's that fragility. And for me in my life, in order to connect, I've learned to really make a connection and to move an audience, so to speak. It only works when I'm made myself vulnerable and I took a risk. And that can be lonely to do that.
Yeah. I would imagine there would be a huge sense of like emotional depletion afterwards, right? How do you
there's the crashing
so much and then have to rebound? I was really struck also, I think it was Cara in your note or somewhere in your book, when you said that the two of you come together and you're always there for each other, but that for a while you were seeing each other mostly at family stuff. Like you can be in touch, but sometimes you don't even see the people you love until not in the fabric of your everyday life anymore, because Idina, you were traveling all the time and you were farther away. And how do you stay close and maintain those bonds, especially between sisters or best friends or whatever, when you are far apart and you do tend to only reunite when something really good or really bad happens? So like, how do you navigate that?
Well, we were really lucky during the pandemic. One of the silver linings for us was that Cara relocated to LA and she rented a home nearby with a pool and like a little pool house that we converted into a schoolhouse. And then 5 mommy friends and I brought our kids over to Cara, dumped them off And she, what'd you do? You connected with the school curriculum and the teachers virtually. And then once the parents knew how great Cara was, we were sort of off and running and off the screens. And it was just so nice to be in the same town. My son developed this wonderful bond with Aunt Cara, which, he always loved her, but this is special during that time to have this sort of, that our kids were so free and running outside and learning in a place that felt unsuffocating, and this one-on-one experience, they really bonded, and that just felt so good to me.
I loved it because, when he's young and I would see him, it's still like all about mom, and then I have all boys. So then when I would, he gets a little older and I see him, but I'm with Jake and Avery or Jake, Avery and Oscar, and he wants nothing to do with me. He's got his cousins all around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think also being the son of celebrities too, I never want to be one more person he has to pay attention to or something else on the radar. I just want to be sort of present, So I was never kind of reaching for him in that way. I don't know how to explain that.
Yes, it was so organic, and he needed you. And
so it was perfect because it was like, oh, this I can do, and my whole family was able to pick up and leave because they're older. My son was in high school, so he was already remote.
It's just a testament to you and what a great teacher and human you are. And it's also that he just wanted to get the hell away from me because I was helicoptering. It was just like, did you do this assignment yet? Did you do this? Did you do that? And, she'd take them to the beach and have them creative write in their journals, looking at the ocean, and then take them for ice cream, and then they jump in the pool, and then they do math, and it was just like we talk about all the time, my mommy friends and I, about just how it's literally saved our sanity. And that's all that matters.
If only I could have dropped my kids there.
Exactly.
Actually, I have 4 kids, and my daughter, who's 9, loves to sing, but gets very embarrassed singing in public. And we spent probably an hour straight with her singing your song over and over and over again, the Loudmouth song. And so I recorded it. Can I play you like a few seconds of it?
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say Let It Go. I'm so...
No. The new song. Wait, I have to play it for you because we spent so long on it and she was so excited.
Is she okay with you sharing it publicly?
She is. She's okay. She's okay with it. I'll just play like...
Tell her she's more brave than me because I have yet to have the nerve.
La la loud. You don't tell a mountain not to be told. You don't tell an anthill not to be small. You don't tell the ocean not to be blue. So don't let somebody tell you not to be you. Oh, I'm just gonna be me. Who else would I be? I'm just gonna be me. Who else would I be? La 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 loud. La 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 loud.
I'll stop there. That's
such vibe already.
Yes.
Will you tell her what I love about it is I can hear that she emulated some of the things that I did, but she also made it her own. And to do that at such a young age shows real artistry.
Amazing.
And that she made my day, which this is a pretty big day. So the fact that topped it, says a lot.
Well, this is all we've been singing around here. I'll have you know.
So sorry, but I'm glad it changed. The set list is changing a little bit.
It's true. No, it's really wonderful. The message behind it is so great. The message behind all of it. And it's so empowering for kids who everyone has their own interests. You have kids, everybody they have their things. And it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't like this, or maybe this shouldn't be my thing or whatever. So I didn't say that very well, but it's really empowering to pursue what you love is so important. So anyway, thank you for having that stuck in my head forever. It will be.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all good. I woke up singing it to my son and he's like, Mom. Okay, sorry. Anyway, do you two have plans for more children's books together?
Well, we started writing the sequel already, which because in the publishing world, man, they don't give you a break. Like this takes a year, so get on.
I was supposed to have a draft ready today. I was like, today?
On book release say? Yeah, but it's going to be called Proud Mouse because it focuses on Cara Lee and exactly what we've been talking about and trying to pave her own way and find her own lane in life.
That's amazing.
In the midst of having a very bossy sister who takes up a lot of space.
But it's I think it's equally funny and equally endearing.
Yeah, it's actually more.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun. It's really difficult to write children's books. Of course, I knew that it would be, but because there's a simplicity to them, but there's also a sophistication, right?
The ones that we grew up loving and the ones that we loved reading to our sons, I think they have to be multi-level in their themes and messaging, and that's just what we were inspired by, those books that we loved.
Yeah, it's just that kind of nailing that balance is really key and challenging. Yeah, I think we did it.
You did a great job. It's amazing. I actually wrote a children's book. It's called Princess Charming. Came out from Penguin Random House.
I know that book.
Yeah, you do? No.
I feel like I've seen, yes.
Oh, anyway, it came out last year. Yeah, people are like, well, is this really hard? And I'm like, it was so hard, but at the end of the day, it's not that many words. I mean, I'm kidding. I mean, you wrote a memoir, Cara. It's like,
I know, but every word counts.
No, it does. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding. But yes, you do.
It is a totally different endeavor. I get it. But yes, challenging in a different way.
No, it's very challenging. And also,
a children's audience, that's a different attention span that you have to engage. So yes, that's another thing that's different from memoir. Like somehow, you got to use a refrain to have repetition to pull them back in, to give them, access the whole time. There's like all these things that you have to do to keep a young mind engaged.
I feel with all the performing I've done in my life and all the high pressure gigs, I'm usually the most nervous when I have to stand up in front of a room full of children.
Really?
Yeah. And especially, I have this camp foundation called A Broader Way, which we send girls from the city up to the country for 2 weeks. And we sing and we dance and we write, and it's all using the arts to help amplify young voices, future leaders, we call them. But whenever I'm asked to come up, so I go up there, but when I'm asked to teach a class, I'm terrified because I feel like they see through you so fast if you're not honest and authentic, and it just happened the other day. I was down in North Carolina, yeah. I'm singing in front of 400 little kids, and I found myself so nervous. Carnegie Hall, no problem. But North Carolina Elementary School, wherever I was in Salem, oh my God.
I'm sure it went well. How did it go?
That was great.
It was great.
It's just if you engage them and you ask them certain questions, sometimes they raise their hand, but they're not really prepared to answer the question. They just want to talk. And so then they just start talking about things that have nothing to do with what you asked them. So I was like, okay, let's talk about that.
It was very Kindergarten Cop. Remember that Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes, totally.
Like, maybe you have a tumor or whatever.
I would argue that occasionally happens at grown-up book readings as well.
Yeah, true. Very true.
You never know. Do you have any advice on all the sisters out there who want to stay in touch, or all the best friends, and they don't maybe have as good ways to stay in touch, or they have to cope with maybe one of them has been more successful than the other and they don't even maybe talk about it or any of that? What do you say to all those people?
I mean, for me, I don't know if it's okay to say this, but I'm atheist. So I had to get really clear about what my values are and what's important to me. And then I try to build all my behavior and make all my choices around what I've decided my values are, so I know that family and relationships that's my priority. And my priority is never to be right or to be better, my priority is always just to be connected. And I think that makes it really easy to be a cheerleader and really easy to be a protector. And what's the last one when I think of sisterhood? Cheerleader, protector. Oh, truth teller. I think truth teller also, which is, you can't be afraid of telling your sister the truth, or that, then something's missing. So I don't know if that's advice, but to me, sometimes I have to remind myself what is actually important to me so that I behave in the way that I want to, instead of letting it happen haphazardly.
I've always talked about the role reversal with us. So, I might look like the one that's got the glossier life, more attention. But the truth is, when it comes down to it, even though she's my younger sister, I look up to her most of the time. She's the one I call for guidance at my worst. She got married younger, had kids younger. So I always feel she's just like always been the old soul, And so it doesn't even feel that way so much. I mean, she's the hero to me. She's the one I go to. So I think that's what makes the successful sibling relationships, friend relationships, is honoring in each other, what you love about them, and the truth telling. I mean, my friends and my family, my sister, they're not afraid to tell me when I screw up and when to get real. And, I find in my business, a lot of people surround themselves with yes people. Mm-hmm. And I do have to say, I have a lot of no people, a lot of people that are like, no, yes, get your shit together. But that's the way I prefer it, because I want to be a good person. And so I try to surround myself with people that I really look up to.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Thanks, I'm sure, for making my daughter's whole world by commenting on her
name. What's her name? Your daughter's name.
I try not to say it publicly, not like or anything, but I don't know. I just like
don't say it.
No, I was just thinking first name, but yes, you don't need to say it publicly. No worries.
Just let her know thank you. And it's very brave of her to share that. And I can't wait to hear more things that she does. I really could hear her own style in there, which is really rare for such a young person to have. So tell her to keep searching for that and to emulate, but not imitate.
Love it. Well, honestly, it was your book that gave her the bravery to do it.
Good.
I'm serious. She never would have done it, but you inspired her, as you will be inspiring so many other people.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it so much.
All right. Well, congratulations on the launch.
That's the next one.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.